Well, good morning, everyone. It is June 29th, and it is extraction day. Yay! I look forward to this day every year as a beekeeper. It's fun. This is where a lot of that hard work pays off, and we get to steal that delicious honey from our bees. So I'm heading over to the apiary now in the truck because my buddy Dave Hansberry graciously offered his honey house up for use to extract my supers and my frames. So he didn't have to ask me twice. He's got one heck of a setup. I've never seen it in person, so I'm excited to also see that, and he's promised me I'll be able to share some of that with you guys. So it should go much quicker than me pulling out all of my equipment, which I only have like a 4-frame extractor and a manual. You're looking at the manual uncapper here with an uncapping tub, so it's still pretty manual the way I do it. He's got a lot of fancy cool equipment that we're going to get to use, which should speed up the process. Now I'll still be doing the bottling in the pole barn with my new bottling tank, and I have a couple of new fancy pieces of equipment that I'll be sharing with you all soon, so stay tuned on a future video for that. Pretty excited to get to use those and showcase them and see how they pan out, which I'm pretty sure they're going to be nice. So what do we have in store today? There's supers on 18 colonies, and roughly doing the math, I think I have anywhere between like 38 to 42-ish supers that I need to pull. So I'm gonna bring the truck up to the apiary here, and my dad's gonna help me, and hopefully we're gonna get these hopefully full supers in the back of the truck without setting off an absolute robbing frenzy. So that's the plan. And then I think Dave said he's at his farmer's market today, which it's late morning here. It's 11:30. I think it only take me a couple hours to get these supers off, and he said he won't be home till around 1:30 or so when he's done with his farmer's market. I'm currently out of honey, so I have not been to the LaGrange farmer's market for, I don't know, a month and a half. And so hopefully, if God blesses me with a good honey crop, and by all indications I think it's going to be pretty good, I'll be able to be back at the farmer's market starting this next Saturday, so July, first weekend of July. Yeah, so I'll have more honey to sell. I'm guessing, this is a complete guess on my part, because I've not been in my colonies for a couple weeks now, even just to check, but I've still seen ebbs and flows of a flow around here. Grass is still green, white clover's everywhere, bees are hitting it. They're hitting the common, is it tissel? I never know how to pronounce that. My buddy Don said they're all over that at his property. So there's still foraging going on. So I certainly wouldn't say we're in a dearth by any means. So I'm guessing I'd be thrilled if I had, I don't know, 400-500 pounds of honey this year. We'll see. Whatever 40-some supers can bring you. And I know they're not all full. I know the hog half combs didn't pan out. At least I don't think they panned out. They didn't the last time I checked them, and those have been really disappointing, to be honest with you. Those I don't know, the bees just don't seem to like them. So if they're not full, I'll just throw them in the freezer again all winter and put them back on another colony next spring, and maybe over 3-4 years eventually we'll get some comb honey out of those hog half combs. Excuse me. The jury's still out on the simple comb. So Mick texted me the other day. He was asking how it was. I said I'll find out this weekend when I pull them. But if they're not all filled out, I am going to leave that super on the colony. Per his recommendation, he said a lot of beekeepers, we find that if they're not all drawn out, leave them on there, and over time, you'll get there. Now, generally, we don't get much of a fall flow here in Kentucky, so I don't know. I think I'll pull them at some point because I'm not going to overwinter them on there, and I would just throw them in my deep freezer as well. So, all right. So I'm here at the pole barn, and we are going to get things ready, and we're going to get out in the yard, and we're going to start pulling supers off the hives. This is exciting, so here we go. Okay, we're out here in the yard. Got the truck out here. We've got all of these supers to pull. It is hot and sticky out here. The only good news is that it's a bit of an overcast, but we're close to 90, I think, and the humidity is 75% and nasty. It's like the muggy meter is off the chart here. So welcome to Kentucky in the summertime. I'm hoping this shouldn't take too long, maybe about an hour or so, if I get a system going down. I use fume boards to get the bees out of the supers. There's lots of different ways to get bees out of supers. There's there's bee traps. I use the fume board to get the majority of them out, and then I have a little handheld blower that'll get the remaining stragglers out. And it's not. I'm sure they don't think it's great, but it doesn't really hurt the bees. It just pushes them out, and they go fly off, and they come back. So, yeah. So we're gonna get all these pulled off, put them in the back of the truck here, throw some blankets on them so we don't set off any robbing. And then I'm gonna head straight over to Dave's house so we can do the extraction. So let's go ahead and get started because I don't want to be out here any longer than I have to. So here we go. All right, good Lord Almighty, it is nasty out here. I don't even have my bee suit on yet. I'm sweating. Ugh. See what we endure, folks, to get this stuff for you. Oh my Lord. Gross. Let me move this mic. Okay. Oh. Oh boy. By the time I'm done with this, there ain't gonna be a dry spot on me. Oh. Whew. And yes, I need to do some trimming and some spraying, kill these weeds and grass. I know I'm behind, but it is what it is. Start with this first one here, and I'll walk you guys through how I do this on the first one. Get this bird crap off the brick there. Whew. So we'll start with a little bit of a safety topic, safety lesson. When it's this hot outside and you're beekeeping and you're talking, in the 90s, humidity's high, heat stroke is a serious life-threatening condition. Do not let yourself get to that point. If you start feeling lightheaded, dizzy, if your heart rate starts increasing, take the time to stop, get in a cool place, drink plenty of water. You have to be drinking water consistently throughout this process, not just waiting till you start feeling dizzy and sick, because then it's too late. You've got to be well hydrated. Before, I made sure I drank about 3 glasses of water this morning, just in preparation, because I knew I was going to be out here for this. So, important safety tip, don't get overheated. It's not worth it. Okay. This is one of those, which hive is this? Is this one of those maybe hives they gave me? I'm trying to remember. It's the one that's got the viewing windows on the side. All right. There's a few bees over here. And some of these, again, some of these were swarms that I caught. So I'm not really expecting a ton of honey off several of these colonies because I overwintered about 10. So the 10 that overwintered, I expect to get a fair amount of honey, but there may not be any there may not be any honey in some of these swarms. I don't know. So, and if that's the case, we'll just remove them. Yeah, there's nothing in this one. So this one's completely empty. So we're just going to pull this one. That's actually surprising that they just didn't need to. They didn't need to draw any. They've kept everything down below. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take this super off and get these bees ready for winter time. Where's my handles? Oh, they're on there. Ugh, that's annoying. Yeah. And we got a queen excluder on here, so we should be okay from, there shouldn't be, the queen shouldn't be up in the top here. Go ahead and give them a little bit of smoke. All right. And like I said, we're not really we're not in the dearth here by any means, so I'm hoping the bees are going to be somewhat friendly. Colony looks to be in good shape. Let's do a quick inspection here. Why not? Well, I certainly don't like how much propolis they put on that. They put a ton of propolis on top here. Not really a fan of that. So that, I guess that would be one downside of that queen excluder, in my opinion. Yeah, see, they haven't had a need to go up in there. And that's kind of typical of what I've seen, at least. You know, your best honey crops come from bees that you successfully overwintered. So we're definitely queen right. I've got some capped brood here. You can probably see it on the camera now. And this is just going to be a quick inspection. I can't remember if I marked this queen or not, to be honest with you. I don't remember. So we'll just do a quick inspection here. See how she's doing. Not bad. Oh, there she is. That's a red dot queen. That's right. Yeah, she's right there. Oops. Got to be careful. This comb wasn't attached. So she's doing okay. Not the greatest laying pattern, but this colony's doing pretty good. I'm just going to leave them alone. Let's take one more look at this frame so we know they're queen right. So that's she would be a 2023 queen. Yeah, it's okay. I've seen better patterns, but not too bad. She's working hard. So let's go ahead and button these girls up. And what I need to do is, after I pull all this honey today, I'm going to come back in a couple days and do some mite washes, because I'm terrified that these colonies are high on mites, as I haven't treated since very early spring. So we're going to see what kind of mite loads these colonies are exhibiting. So let's go ahead and put this top back on here. You know, I'd love to, I think I am. I'm going to scrape all that propolis off. I just don't like it on top of the frames like that. They really made a mess of it. Oops. And if this video ends up going long, we'll just make this into a two-part, one of the two-parters. Look, I guess it's good. I'll keep this propolis. I'll make what's it called, a tincture from it, which you can put this stuff, mix it with Everclear, pick up at your local liquor store, and you make what's called a tincture. It's basically where you mix the two together, and the alcohol turns it into almost like a paste. And bees love this propolis stuff, obviously. So what you do is you just smear this on the inside of a swarm trap, and it makes your lure even better. Because then bees are like, oh, there was a colony that thought this was a great spot. Look at all this propolis in here that we get to use and start with. And just makes it stinky in there in a good way for your bees. So I always preach, keeping your colonies hygienic. mean, take the extra 4 or 5 minutes here to keep your hive clean and tidy. It makes your life a lot easier later on. You don't come back to a huge mess. These aren't too bad on these outer edges here. Okay, look at that. I mean, all that propolis was on the top of the frame, so. Trying to remember whose hive this is, but it confirms my suspicions. I'm not a fan of these plastic queen excluders. I don't like them. If for nothing else, for that exact reason. All right. So hive number 1 was a flop. But again, expected. Completely expected. I guess I need to shake the rest of those bees off, huh? I could shake them off at the front entrance, but or I could blow them out too. There's not that many in here. Let's just see if I can blow them out. Now there's no honey or nectar in here, so this doesn't have any chance of setting off any robbing or anything. So I'm just going to set this to the side and I'll get it later. Okay, that's it for this one. Let's go ahead and reposition the camera and we'll take a look at these first 4, which I know have honey in them. And those 4 were overwintered colonies from last year. So let's go take a look. Okay, well, I tried to shoot a video of the first 4 there, and the camera was in the sun, and it turned itself off because it got overheated. Just like me. So I just had to go take a break and go sit in the pole barn for a little bit, drink some water, air condition. I was starting to feel lightheaded. I've got a headache now. Just took some Advil. So what I was mentioning before is serious, guys. You got to take this heat seriously. So take breaks if you need to. Make sure you drink plenty of water. I went and got this DeWalt fan too, which at least will give me a little bit of a breeze here. So let's see what we're looking at on this top one here. Okay, yep. That one's mostly empty. So I think I was mentioning earlier that I use these fume boards. Now I can't remember. I don't think you saw any of it because that video cut out. So I made these. My dad and I made these just out of pine, 2 inches all the way around. It's got a aluminum roof to it that you spray paint black, and it's got this felt on the inside. And you just take this Honeybee Bandit here and spray pretty liberally on that felt. Make sure you get the corners all the way around. Give it a good coat. This stuff's really stinky. The bees hate it. I think it smells like cherry floor wax. If the sun's out, it'll shine on this, and that's what really helps push that honey bandit down into the colony. But I've had this on for a little while now, and they're forced down pretty good, so it's working well. I'm gonna go set this super off to the side. There's nothing in it. Those first 4 colonies over there didn't have a ton of honey. I'm pretty disappointed, to be honest with you. Hopefully the rest of these do pretty good. I don't know. I don't know what happened. They came out of spring strong. I have no idea. They had some drawn comb. It wasn't all. There was some foundation in there, so that didn't help my cause. Okay, so yeah, they're pretty much all, this super right here is stuffed. This is going to be a heavy super. And they're all pretty much out of it. Oh, yeah, that worked great. Yeah, it's a heavy one. Yeah, it really forces the bees down in there. It works really well. I just use this fan to get the rest of them out. Yeah, that's a good one here. Yeah. That's a good 40 pounds, I'd say. I'll go set this on the truck. Oh, okay. Whew. Oh. You can see this, might be able to see on the camera, this colony over here is bearding a little bit because it's a solid bottom board. And those bees that were in the super are making it hot being in the deep there with the rest of the colony. It is a downside of running singles when you force all these bees back into a single box. I may not be able to do that with this colony over here. It may just be too many bees in it. We'll just have to wait and see. So let's go ahead and get this one off. Ugh. Not bad. There's some good frames in there. Oh. Ugh. Right. Yeah, you can see how jam-packed that is. So I generally just take my smoker. If I can find where the heck I laid it. Of course, it's over here. Okay. And just try to get the bees out of the way. Maybe get them flying or force them down in there. So I can take this clean excluder off. I'm trying not to smoke down in the hive as much, just these outer edges here so I can get this off relatively easily. And I can shake all these bees off. That looks good. Put the lid back on and call it a day. And all those bees will eventually find their way back in. Hot, back-breaking work, folks. You get a full super, those things are heavy. You get and I doubt they put anything in this deep super. That's just the only thing I had left, and I think these were getting pretty full. So I'm optimistic this is a really good colony. We're about to find out. There's been a lot of activity at this entrance. This will be the last one we do, and then I've got 8 more to go through over there, and then I'll be heading over to Dave's. So let's bring this in a little closer. Make it easier on myself. Work smarter, not harder. By the way, if you don't have one of these Gorilla ladders, they're a lifesaver. I really need to get another one. My dad's over there behind the camera trying to shield it from the sun so it doesn't shut off on us again. Thanks, Dad. Oh boy. All right. This one's gonna feel great on the old back. I wonder how many bees are up here in the top, though. Oh, quite a bit. That's a full super. That's awesome. All right. Something in there. Stuck. There we go. All right. Do your thing. There we go. Whew. It was a hot day. Where's my water? There it is. Yeah, so like I was saying before, this Honey Bandit, it's not cheap stuff, but it's good. Like maybe 50 or 60 bucks for a bottle of it. A little bit goes a long way. It does last you a while. And I just obviously put it in a little spray bottle. And then you glue a piece of foam to the underside of this aluminum that I spray painted black, and it works real well. I need to do a video on how to make these. It's pretty simple and straightforward, but I think people would appreciate it. So while that one's sitting there, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next one, but I'm going to keep the camera here so we can go through this one together. So. At least now the sun is past the trees behind me, so now at least where I'm standing there's no direct sunlight. That's one of the benefits of getting out here later, because the sun comes up right behind you over there in the east of that way and sets right behind me. So this these trees here provide some nice shade for the colonies in the afternoon, which is what you want. You want morning sun and some afternoon shade. And I firmly believe that aside from having strong colonies, having that morning sun is what helps keep small hive beetles to a minimum in my yard. I mean, I hardly ever see small hive beetles. I see 1 or 2 here and there, but that's it. Okay. Well, let's see if they're out of here. Yeah, go ahead and take this first one off. Oh, it's going to be a heavy one too. Oh, jeez. Oh, yeah. Look at that. That is packed. That's got to weigh 50, 55 pounds. All right, let's get this on the truck. Oh, man. Whew. That one's heavy. That's a good super. Wish they all were like that. Okay, let's get this fume board back on here. How's this one looking? Yeah, about 5, 6 frames of honey in that one. Put this fume board back on. Okay. Whew. But that's I don't want to bore you guys with a really long video here. But that's really the gist of it. So you just systematically go through all your yard, like I'm doing, one by one. You can see that I take them all back to singles. I just see bearding on that one, but I think eventually they'll all go inside. Typically, there's enough room. This one could be an issue. I'll decide game time decision if I want to leave this second deep on, if they need the room or not. But after I get done extracting, I'm going to come back here, start doing my mite washes, and we'll be checking for mites and treating with Apiguard, very likely. That's what I have. I still have a tub of Apiguard, so we'll do that. It'll be a 4-week regimen. Applications 1 week apart, probably half a dose. I'll have to read the label again, but always follow the label. What else? I think that's it. So I am looking forward to getting this extracted and getting some honey back in the bottles. It stinks when you don't have any and people are asking you for some honey and you have to tell them you're all sold out. No beekeeper wants that. So, my dad's asked me before, what's your end goal? How many hives do you want? I want to have enough hives where I can keep up with demand, for honey, quite frankly. That's one piece of it. But ideally, I think I could adequately take care of 20 to 30 colonies, especially at this point in my life. I don't think I could go much more than that. I'm not sure if I'd want to go much more than that. It's a lot of work, as you guys are seeing, right? And it's hot, it's backbreaking, but it's a labor of love. Don't get me wrong. In some weird, twisted way, I do love doing this. I don't know if I love being out here when it's this freaking hot and humidity is at 75% and it feels like you're in a shower out here. But, most of the time this is very therapeutic and enjoyable. I was listening to Two Bees in a podcast and they were talking about that dichotomy. They had a guest speaker on. Jamie and Amy had a guest speaker. I forget her name, but she was talking about mental well-being and beekeeping, mental illness or mental health and beekeeping. And I'll be honest, I just lost a friend a week ago. She lost her battle with mental illness and took her life. And I was absolutely gutted. She's one of the nicest, most wonderful people I've ever met. She was a colleague of mine. I worked with her for years. And, you just never know what people are going through. So the old adage of just be kind and be nice to people, you just don't know what they're going through. And the last time I saw her, she told me she wasn't doing well. Of course, I asked her why. She said her parents weren't in good health. And I thought, okay, maybe that's why she's upset. But I never thought she would take her own life. And it's just incredibly sad. And I'm definitely going to miss her. She was such a positive, happy, smiley person that and I hadn't been around her the last 6 months or so since I took a different position. I was in a different building, but you just sit there and ask yourself a lot of questions and wonder if you could have said something or done something different. So anyway, I didn't mean to take this video into a somber note, but just that podcast had really good timing in terms of beekeeping and mental well-being and mental health. Well, we lost the camera again. It's just too hot out here. So I'm going to wrap this up because the camera just doesn't like the sunlight. Does anybody have any good ideas? Do they make like umbrellas for tripods that you can put over top of a camera or something? I got to figure something out because that's happened a few times. So making our way through the yard here, I've got 8 hives done. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more to go. So, you know, a little over, halfway. So, oh, is that oh, I thought that was a wide-eyed drone. That was going to be cool. Yeah, so anyway, we're going to finish extracting here, get everything packed up. We'll head to Dave's honey house and we'll get the extraction process going. And so I'll be sure to show you that. So stay tuned.